because this was built back in the late 1800s off an old wagon. I don't know if it's a horse and wagon or a chuck wagon or anything like that, but this thing is super old. You can see the rust on there, okay? Now that bolt has been on there for a long, long time, okay? And we're gonna try and get that off without any, fire. Hey, it's Fuzzy. If you haven't got access to like a acetylene torch or anything that gets really hot to take off rusted bolts or, lug nuts on cars or trucks that you can't get off, this thing right here is called the magnetic induction heater. Now, this was sent to me by KK7s in return for a review video, okay? And we're going to give it a try. I've already tried it. We're going to do some demos and stuff like that. I'm actually going to take my bolts off my moldboard plow and put a new blade on, and they're all rusted down. You know how that goes, right? It's always in the wet in the winter time and all that kind of stuff. But first thing you have to do is read this manual. It is super important. It tells you what you can do, what you can't do. This particular version didn't come with, the toolbox and all that kind of stuff. It's just in a box with the components and the machine itself, and of course the instructions. Now, make sure you got safety glasses whenever you're doing something with this thing. Take off all your metal, and it tells you all that in the manual, okay? All right, let's get into it and show you the machine. The induction heater itself weighs 2.12 pounds. It's about 15 inches long. Comes with a 4-foot cord, and yeah, it's a heavy-duty cord. I think it's 16 gauge. And make sure when you run this thing and you're doing an extension cord, you got to have 16 gauge or lower, which is a bigger cord, to supply the power to run this thing, okay? Because you're pulling a lot of watts. 1300 watts is a lot of power. You've got in your box, you've got thumb screws, okay? So these here are to keep your working coils in. I'll show you that in a second. You've got a switch right here. Now the only time this works is when this switch is pushed in. If you let go, it doesn't work. Press it all the time to make the coils get hot, okay? All right, it comes with your fan in the back. And of course, you've got your inlets for your working coils right here. All right, you also have an LED light on the end of this. Now, when that's white, it's good. When it's red, something's wrong, okay? All right, now, as goes for your working coils, you've got a 15 mil, which is around 9/16, so it'll fit a 1/2 inch bolt, okay? You've got a 20 mil, which is around 3/4 of an inch, so you can fit a 5/8 bolt or a nut, whatever you want, okay? Rod, whatever it is, okay? Next one is 30 mil, all right? That's about 1.1 inches, so anything kind of under that is perfect, okay? Nuts, bolts, rods, whatever you want. And then next you got a 40 mil. Now this is 1 9/16. It can be a little bit smaller than that, which is, safe to go, right? Okay, then you've got, they call this a free coil. Now this is roughly 75 millimeters long, okay, about 30 inches, right? And this is made for like pipe or bigger nuts that you need taken off that the smaller coils can't do. And what you do with this one, and I'll show you in the video when in a second, but you just wrap it around here like this and make yourself a coil, and then back to the machine itself. Of course, you got to have it straight, not crooked like this one. That's pretty genius, actually. But anyway, that's how that comes, and then you can do whatever you want with that. Okay. All right, let's go do some demo. Hey, make sure you guys subscribe and like and hit that notification button for all the good stuff. I've always got new stuff. Sponsors are always sending me stuff, and I'm putting the videos out the best I can. The way I would want to see the videos, and learn about a product that I'm looking to buy, and I hope this helps you out. Okay, so there's 3 different types of metals. Okay, we got copper, we got aluminum, we got galvanized steel, and we got steel. We got a steel nut right here. Okay, so it says right in the instructions that it doesn't work on copper or aluminum. Okay, I didn't know about galvanized steel. We're going to try that, and obviously steel. Okay, there's a magnet, and you can see that obviously sticks there. Galvanized steel sticks there. Okay, copper penny no go. Aluminum, no go. Copper pipe, no go. Okay, all right. Okay, so now if you have a big nut like 1.5 inches or whatever, okay, so something bigger, you have to go to the free coil, which is like a 75 mil length or 30 inches, and you got to wrap this around there, okay? So what you want to do is you want to take that and you want to wrap it around here like this, okay? And then back to the machine. Obviously, you got to make sure that these are in the right spot and so on and so forth. If not, you can always adjust it, right, and make it so it goes around like that and so on, okay? Same with a piece of pipe. If you've got pipe, you got something inside here or whatever that's stuck in there and you can't get it out and you need to hammer it from the other end or screw it out or whatever, you can do the same thing, right? You can take that and wrap it around, whether it be pipe or whatever it is, and wrap it around like that, and then heat her up from there, okay? So that's what that is for, and we're not going to try that today because obviously we know it works, and we'll go from there. Okay, I got my inducer ready to go. I got my thumb screws in. I've got the wire in, and I to take this bolt off, I had to go to a 30 mil, which is 1 1/8 inch, versus the 20 mil of the 3/4 inch, because this is 11/16 bolt. Okay, now this was donated to me a while back, and I want to take off the nuts and bolts and save the shackle, and don't wreck the bolt, because this was built back in the late 1800s off an old wagon. I don't know if it's a horse and wagon or a chuck wagon or anything like that, but this thing is super old. You can see the rust on there, okay? Now that bolt has been on there for a long time, okay? And we're gonna try and get that off without any, fire or anything. We're gonna use this inducer, and off we go. So we got to plug it in, and right away you'll hear the fan, okay? And there goes the fan. You can hear that going, okay? Now when you turn it on and hit the button, okay, you're going to see a light on the end right there, okay? That means she's ready to go. So she's heating up, and it will actually go off when you detach that button, okay? So don't touch it, it's off. Touch it, it's on, okay? All right, let's press it and go. See how it goes. Okay, we're getting up there. This stuff is, this old stuff's really good metal, so it probably takes a little more heat to get it hot versus the newer stuff nowadays, because it's so pure. And all right, there, I see some smoke coming now, and she's getting hot. Now, I don't know if you're going to see this red hot because it's so old. I'm going to have to keep it here for a long time. But let's give that a shot and see how it goes. Okay, here we go. We'll unplug it. Let's see if we can get this off. Oh, look at that. Now, I couldn't budge that nut when I didn't have this heat on like that. Oh, look at that. It come off in really good shape. I'm not going to touch that right now, but look at that. Just come right off. Okay, let's get that off. And look at it. I saved the threads. I saved the nut and that. All right, let's move on. Okay, I got this piece only for demonstration purposes. It's a gate latch that's very old, been sitting outside for a long time. The pin is seized and the bolts are seized. I cut the rest of the threads off, and we're going to try and get this nut off with our inducer, okay? And you can see that is not coming off, okay? Okay, so we've got our 40 mil, which is 1 9/16 rod in, and this is actually a 1 1/8 or 30 mil bolt, so we had to go a little bit bigger size. Now we're going to try and get this off. Let's get her done. Got our thumb screws in fairly tight, and there we go. And let's get her done. Plug it in, you'll hear the fan run it. Remember the switch, okay? So let's get it on top of there and get some heat going and hopefully get some smoke running here. Try not to touch the nut itself, just to keep the rod insulation or the wire insulation from touching it, and go from there. Now, this is a bigger bolt, a bigger nut, bigger everything, so I'm gonna have to leave it on here for a little bit longer until we start to see some smoke, and then I'm going to take it off and we're going to give that a try. The metal itself has turned a copper color, so it is definitely gotten hot. Okay, let's get her red hot. Oh yeah, I can see the metal changing color now. It's turning purple. That's amazing how this thing works, man. You know, if you haven't got access to acetylene torch or anything like that, this thing is be right in your wheelhouse if you do this kind of thing. Okay, let's see what we can come up with now. Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, look at that. And there she is. This thing is going to be super hot, so I'm not going to touch it. All right, look at that. That is off. So yeah, it had to get hot enough where it cut the threads. It's new threads as it come off, because some of the threads were smashed a little bit. So it had to get really hot in order to cut new threads to come off. And there you go. Okay, so we got a 1/2 inch rod in here. I've got the 15 mil, which is 9/16 coil in. And I have bent it a little bit so we can get down the rod, because it is about 40 inches long. So we got to go up and then back down, and you can't get at it like that, so you got to get at it like this, right? So let's get it done, and make sure you push that red button in and hold it and go from there. All right, let's plug her in. Okay, so you don't want it too close to the vise, because that'll steal the heat. All right, here we go. If you can see, the light is on. If that light turns red, that means you got an issue with the machine. Okay, so as long as it stays white, she's putting out heat. All right, here comes some smoke. Now that's about what, 35 seconds? And what you can do is just start taking the rod and see if it'll bend. And there it goes. And whammo. You got yourself a hook. Let go of your trigger, take it off the rod, and you got yourself a hook at the end of a rod. Okay, we're going to replace this moldboard with a new blade, so you can see how these are all rusted, right? Now, the nuts are exactly the same. I'll show you those too. Okay, so there's your nuts on the bolts right there. And what we're going to do, I'm not going to try and attempt to take them off. We're just going to use a reduction heater to get them off. Because I don't want them to strip or anything like that. If they start to strip or something, then I got to cut the bolt off. And I don't want to do that, because I want to reuse these bolts, because they're in pretty good shape yet. On the front side of this, right? So yeah, there's another one right there. Okay, so I modified that to have a 90-degree bend in it. Okay, now we're going to throw it in the inducer and get her going here. All right, let's plug it in. Now you hear the fan go on immediately, right? Okay, here we go. I may have to put a little more of a bend in it, just to go like that, and put a bend in it like that. There we go. Now we can get it on there. All right, let's get her going. Now, being this close to the moldboard itself, the moldboard is going to take some heat away from that nut. But the idea is to get it hot. She's getting smoking now. And these are nylon nuts, and now it's melting the nylon, okay? So I'm going to have to put lock washers on them. Okay, so I'm going to try and get the bolt hot too. Okay, that's long enough. Let's see if we can get that done. Okay, I'm going to use a ratchet to try and get these off. Okay, it's coming. Ouch, that's hot. But the nut itself came out, right? So I got to bang that back in and try and hold it there. And there it is. Off she come. All right, you guys, there it is. The nut's off. Saved the bolt and the nut. Don't touch that nut or that bolt because they're really hot. All right, you guys, the moldboard blade is on. Thanks to the magnetic inducer heater by KK7s, I saved most of the bolts. I did have to cut one head off because the nut was too close to the frame. But all in all, I saved them all, and they're all back on, and it was a big job, but we got her done. And I hope you enjoyed my review. Hey, if you want to subscribe and like and all that kind of stuff, the notifications, I'm always putting out stuff, and sponsors are sending me stuff, and I'm always looking to do stuff that helps people to understand what they're buying and how it works. And I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.